Welcome to the Afrobeats panel. It's a series of discussions on Afrobeats, basically ins and outs of the industry. I am Esther Alade, and with me on the panels today are DJs. So I'm going to start from my right-hand side.
My name is DJ Abbas, DJ Media Marketing Consultant.
Hi, I go by the name of DJ Dips, also a producer.
Selector Maestro, DJ, producer, radio presenter and event organizer.
DJ Gabe, radio presenter, DJ, and also freelance journalist.
So basically this episode we are talking about expanding borders of Afrobeats. I consider myself to be a consumer of Afrobeats. I listen to Nigerian pop, a mixture of Ghanaian, mix, here and there. For me, it's almost like I've kind of conditioned my mind to be like, Afrobeats is only Nigerian or Ghanaian.
I think it's wrong to alienate the other nations, I would say. There are other nations active within the music scene. It just so happens that Ghana and Nigeria are kind of currently leading the charge. Does that make sense? So that's my opinion anyway.
Okay.
If I understand the question, perhaps what you're looking at is in mainstream Afrobeats within Africans in the UK, it appears that Nigerians and Ghanaians seem to be dominate. But then part of that is a numbers game as well. We have more Nigerians and Ghanaians than anybody else. And then there's also you have the Anglo and Franco. Like, if I was to ask some people, there are some clubs in South London where the Ivorians do their thing, packed out. Some Nigerian DJs play there. And if you were to speak with those DJs, they'll tell you, hey, you know what? I know this artist from Ivory Coast doing this thing. So at times we're limited to what we know. But the fact is there are all these people everywhere. What would be nice is to have their inclusion within the mainstream Afrobeats network in the UK. So just as we're discussing about radio shows, hopefully it'd be nice to hear those sounds as well on their radio shows. And I do believe some DJs actually, like someone like Edu, he plays quite a wide range. I listen to his program on BBC One Extra, and he'll play stuff from Nigeria, from Africa, from Kenya, from Uganda, from South Africa. He actually covers a broader spectrum, but not necessarily just Afrobeats.
I think the word Afrobeats itself is a collective term, and I think and I look at Afrobeats as the voice of the urban youth, and that's the way I see it, because it's the urban African youth. So that is the way they used to identify themselves.
Yeah.
So no matter where you're from, as long as you're African and you were born in the UK, whether you were from Congo or whatever is there, that is the sound. So you could get the odd Angolan music and you get the odd Congo music, but the fact that it's African, they've embraced it. It just so happens that the dominant forces are Ghana and Nigeria.
And I think as gatekeepers, as DJs, and I think this is what makes it very important, the audience only know what we feed them. So for me in particular, I've specifically built relationships with so many communities. So I have playlists ranging from I did a gig for a lady just about a couple of weeks ago, and she was Cameroonian. When you start to research Cameroonian music, you're thinking, wow, they're doing their thing big time. And same thing if you go to areas like Birmingham or Leeds, where you have big, huge Zimbabwean communities, hang around them, and in their circle they have their big songs as well. So I try to just get the best of all these communities, but then like I said, we already have a mainstream African network for Afrobeats, and yes, we have Nigerian, we have Ghanaian, we have the odd Platinum Diamonds, or we have the odd what's his name, the guy who did Sitialos, Eddie Kenzo. Yeah, but then I think it's our duty as well, our duty to try and broaden the scope. It could be through mixtapes, it could be through special hours on radio, just to also, because when you start to represent for them, their audience
will buy into it.
And it broadens the scope. Yeah.
When you look at the continent of Africa as a whole as well, and you look at the dominant music, it's from these two countries. So it's not as if we're going out of our way to just play this. It's this reflects in Africa as well. So even when you go to places like Tanzania and Angola, or you even watch some of their series or their products, they're playing Nigerian music in their clubs. So it's not as if we are just marginalizing them. This is what's happening not only in the UK, it's also happening in Africa as well.
Just to add to that, sometimes if you follow like some of our popular Nigerian artists like Davido, Wizkid and Techno and all these other guys, you find out they're documented in Tanzania, they're being booked out in all these countries, and these are the countries that don't speak Yoruba, Twi or any other of our main mother tongue. they're singing word to word of our songs. So
And they're watching DSTV.
Yeah. So there's a lot of West Africanization that's going on in Africa
At the moment.
Yeah.
The greatest thing that ever happened to Africans, especially musically for this generation, was beginning to buy into our own sound. In the 90s, well, in the 80s, you go into clubs all over Africa, all mainstream clubs, it's like 99% R&B or disco, and that was the case up till the late 90s. And now we have our own sound, you know, and it took a while for even that to be accepted back home. It took longer for it to be accepted here. I knew DJs who would not even touch it. Then they
Why?
would not. Yes, they would not touch it. They just felt it wasn't the in thing.
DJ Bass, I'm not very happy right now because you're talking about playing Afrobeats in Ugandan clubs.
Yeah.
Why can't we have some Ugandan music when, you know, there's O2 concert is on, or I'm in Steam Bar, for example. There's other clubs out there. Why can't I hear?
Well, the DJs have to take part of that blame at times, because at the end of the day, like I said, they have a play. You come out, the audience dictates what you play most of the time. But I think part of the DJ's job is also to educate the public. So I can only speak for myself. The fact is, I still play a majority of the mainstream songs, but then there are songs within Africa that I would play. Typical example, Sitialos Eddie Kenzo. I was playing that even before it became it. I just loved the song, you know. And now it's how you introduce it. Because at times, you know, you source out the market when you're not sure, you know. Perhaps it's a particular instrument. I'm sure Gabe will know this instrument, Makola.
Yeah.
You know the one, you know.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic beat, and I let that roll. And that song has developed, that beat has developed a life of its own. And then I lay in that song, and I leave the mix running and watch, you know. And gradually I let that go. You can't force feed people at
I
times,
guess
you know.
so, yeah.
So the audience at times determine this thing. So if we are playing at an Indigo O2 show where there's a vast majority of West Africans, most of the time the DJ will perhaps lean in that direction, but it doesn't stop them from trying stuff from other places.
You raise a very pertinent point here, because, you know, the days of when DJ used to break records have now moved because of the advent of YouTube.
Yes.
So a person consumes their music on YouTube,
Yes.
and they turn up in a club and expect what they heard on YouTube to be played in a club.
Yeah.
And if you're not playing in the club, to them, you're not doing the job properly. So it's about getting that balance right.
Yeah.
How do you break a record at the same time giving the people what they want?
Yes.
Because essentially that's what you're about.
Yes.
You know, as a DJ, you want to kind of please the crowd, but at the same time ease in new music at the right stage, you know, and just get that balance right.
So you guys have assured me that you're not only playing music from just Ghana or Nigeria, right? So give me some names that I should go and check up, that I can look at, that you play.
Jose Chameleon from
where's it
Uganda, and you've got Tufan from Togo.
Okay.
A duo, brilliant. Check them out.
So what do you like about those guys in particular?
Of Tufan, the duo, they're from Togo. But what I like about them is the sound. The sound is the beats. It's very, you know, it sounds very coupe décalé or décalé coupe, depending on what language you speak. You know, it's very Ivorian. The sound, beats, beautiful. And Jose Chameleon is very lovers rockish. You know, I like the sound again, and I love what he talks about.
Yeah.
Although I don't understand the language, but I pick out the love words.
Okay. DJ Bass?
We all hear about diamonds, platinums today from Tanzania, but before diamond platinum there was Alikiba, and because of my Tanzanian connect, I've always listened to a lot of bongo music, and Alikiba was and is still the Don. You know, he's very, very different. In that part of the world, they do more ballads than we do on the west side.
Okay.
You know, so most of you go into their clubs, they normally break into two sessions. There's a session for the slow ballady, you know, and everybody's dancing. So, and I'm a big fan of that for me personally. And I like Fally Ipupa.
Okay.
Fally Ipupa a lot. Don't listen to his mega hits, listen to his album. You know, and if you are that inclined to the slow, because in Congo, usually Koffi Olomide style, they start slow, and then midway into the song, it breaks into up-tempo. That has to be your thing. So I think people should just kind of search for those guys on the internet, go on their YouTube pages. I think the Congolese are the most colorful in terms of visuals.
Yeah.
And dress sense.
It's from another level, you know. Consistently, they're very colorful.
Very vibrant.
The videos, you know,
choreography,
nice, and it works.
Even their dancing,
Yeah, choreography.
on another level. What about you, Maestro?
There's an artist that I came across some time ago called Shwaibu. He's actually from Sierra Leone.
Okay.
A friend of mine, DJ Little.
I know DJ Little.
Shout out to DJ Little. Yeah, I think I met him in my friend's studio, and he was singing this guy's praises. I was like, okay, cool, I'll check him out. I listened to him, and I liked the music. Like, it was just a vibe. What Little was telling me was, and then Little started telling me about the dynamics of the SL music industry, about how it doesn't really work in favour of the artist. That's why this guy hasn't really got to where he's going. But musically, if he gets the right team behind him, he could challenge a lot of guys now. Shwaibu, check him out.
Okay. Anyone else?
There's a group called, I don't know if they're a group or a band, but they're called African Roots. They're from SA, South Africa.
Okay.
So their style is more SA house, but it has a real ancestral sound to it. Like, I could listen to their thing top to bottom.
What about you, Dips?
I think one that kind of captured me last year was a guy called MHD Official from, I think, somewhere in the Ivory Coast. He has a song called Afro Trap, and yeah, it just went viral all of a sudden, like just hearing it everywhere. Also from South Africa, a singer called Boosie. I think she's probably been around because a lot of us, I'm sure, used to play Soulful House. Yeah, so she's a singer that's been around.
I don't know if we've spoken about UK Afrobeats. I know I've kind of got you guys concentrating on.
Do you know what? Because we said Africa, that's why we focused there.
Yeah.
But we can't forget about,
We cannot
we're
forget
here in the UK, so
Because I mean, and I think the last, say, 3-4 years,
Yeah.
I personally have seen like a big emergence of UK acts. There was a time when there was only key UK acts, as Gable could probably vouch for that. Like, you had your Mr. Silvers, Malogos, Fuse ODGs, and, you know, Sonna, you know, like, you had key acts. Now there's a lot more.
I remember having this conversation with Abbas, and I don't know if Abbas remembers this conversation many years ago. And we were talking about, at the time, you know, UK-based African acts. And Abbas's response to me back then is that UK Afrobeats or African acts, they have to go back to Nigeria or they have to go back to Africa, because that's where the demographics is.
At the time.
At the time, that's what I said many moons ago. So I'm sure your view on that has kindly changed, hasn't it?
It has tweaked a bit. And you see, every time dictates what you do. In the focal point for most diasporan artists, not just UK right now, for most diasporan artists, it's like Don Jazzy the band used to live in the UK and they went back to Nigeria to blow. So that became the standard for a lot of people, you know, especially. And then let's start to look at the diasporans that returned. You know, quite a few people make that journey and they realize very quickly that to get back into to go into Nigeria, it's no joke. The work ethic is like 10 times harder, and then you have to deal with the acceptance side of things. So at that time, that was like the logical thing to do, because at the time we didn't have a scene here for Afrobeats. We didn't have any.
And the internet, there was no YouTube back then. There was no
many
social
things.
media.
There was no many things.
There was no social media back then.
I'm sure if we have that conversation today,
your views will change.
No. But the fact remains, though, that if you are the beauty of it is the best of two worlds.
Yeah.
Because if you're a UK-based act, the fact remains that 99% of what we still play in the clubs are still Afrobeats from Africa. Anyway, so the fact, and this, while the scene is still developing, the fact remains that you need to connect with a scene that's already established if you can. At times, it's part of the business model you have. So it doesn't mean return, but have a relationship with the mother. A great example is when Maestro said he got into Ghana, and part of why he is who he is today is to see a non-African, you know, championing the cause. You know, that thing happened in Ghana to you, not in the UK. So, you know, so going to the source, that pilgrimage is almost inevitable at a certain point.
So is there any more UK artists apart from
Sonna,
Sonna I like, I'm a fan of Sonna.
Mr. Silver,
Mr. Silver,
UG, Timbo.
There's listen, like this year you're gonna see more.
Why is that?
It's just the times we are. Like everyone's trying to stake their claim because they see that there is
Africa's popping now, basically.
Not that it's popping, but it's also that there's Well, okay, there is a bit of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But
There's a lot of that.
No, because I'll tell you this. Now it's like everybody wants to now be
Can I ask a
part
question?
of the movement now. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Jam Jam and Nep Nep,
Yeah.
they're not Africans,
Right, no, no.
but they've actually made a contribution to a degree in terms of major.
Definitely, yeah.
Can we picture a time? Let's say, for example, an Englishman with strong connect to the Africans now decides to do an Afrobeat song, and mainstream UK decides to embrace it and push him. How would we take that?
uproar. There'll be uproar.
Revolution.
Why would there be uproar?
Amongst pockets of Africans, there will definitely. We have to go. If you go back even 50 years, white folks were making black music and getting credit, and the music was getting was written by black folks. They would get the credit. We would just be on the back burner. Do you understand?
See, that was.
Do you remember?
Sorry.
Complete random, but as you just said that, I remember the movie I watched. Quite probably not relevant. Cadillac Records.
Yep.
And you remember what happened when the I forgotten who it was, Eddie Waters or somebody did a jazz blues song, and next thing you know, the white guys performed it, and bam, that was it.
Yeah. So but it's like, for example,
Yeah.
if I'll use a random name. Let's say Ola makes a track which is, quality. We love it amongst our people. But if Ted Smith goes and makes it, the labels will put him as the face of Afrobeats.
So are we saying that the question I'm asking is that are we saying that Afrobeat is only exclusive to Africans?
It's not exclusive to Africans, but then at the same, if you're going to push Ted Smith, push Ola.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But you see, for me, the only challenge I have is cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
I don't mind who does Afrobeats, as long as you culturally appropriate where the dues is.
Yeah.
That is where,
If
if you do that, that's fine by me.
So you're bothered about the face to it?
It's not that I'm bothered, but then it's something that the music industry is full of that. Like,
Just history has not been on the side of Africans, because remember, this thing is a business, and
We don't own the labels.
oh yeah, no, it's a business, and it's for me really. If I'm happy with a Jam and I'm happy with a Nep Tizzle, I don't have a problem with anybody, and I don't think we should. However, the fact, like you rightly said, is that, like, do you know the song Obladi, Oblada, Life Goes On, da 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 da. Beatles. That song was written by Nigeria. Did you know that?
I didn't.
Do you know the story behind that?
Yeah, we did.
In the 60s. That's a major Beatles song. And if I tell you the story revolving around that, so this thing is not new. Cultural appropriation, great. But at times you realize most of the time you have to fight for that.
Yeah.
So I think, because I needed to drop that question just to see, because
But yeah.
that's something that could happen pretty soon.
and the
I
thing is,
think for you,
understand
you're
that.
thinking more the authenticity of it, right? Or
yeah,
no?
I mean, and the thing is, you see, like, if I use that example I gave to someone like Nep Tizzle, I'm not trying to dismiss his credibility, because I know him personally, and he's not like, if he wanted to, he could have just abandoned Afrobeats and done something else. But he stayed true to what he's doing.
And it was embraced by the community massively. Yeah.
Massively.
Exactly.
Back to Africa.
But back to Ola now. Back to Ola and Ted Smith. Do you understand what coming? Like, I'm not bothered if Ted Smith wants to do Afrobeat song. Like, I don't care. Do you understand?
But you don't want him to be the face of Afrobeats.
Can't.
By default,
Yeah.
He shouldn't be. No.
He can't anyway.
He should. But the thing is, the industry.
Yeah.
If you go to the top of the industry, that's what goes on.
But you
Like, go back. Sorry.
No, it's all right. It's okay.
Is Iggy? What's her name?
Azalea,
Iggy
whatever,
Azalea.
yeah.
Classic example. Her and Macklemore. I saw an article where they were put as the king and queen of hip hop. Are you mad?
That's a joke.
Okay.
And it's just disrespecting what Funk Master.
Is it disrespect to
Master
the-
J and everyone? Yeah.
So
Grandmaster Flash,
that's the point I'm
disrespect
getting. I'm not
everything.
saying they shouldn't do Afrobeats. I'm not saying that, but it's the way that they're pushed to, like.
They will get the medals basically.
And I understand that, and it's a numbers thing, isn't it? But people tend to naturally gravitate to what they know and what they see as identical. So some of these people, when you get these people who are now, they do an Afrobeats song and they're of a certain persuasion, and now they start to sell records because those are their peers, or people like them are saying, okay, let's see what you're about. So they're connecting with them the same way. So we need to start. We as black people need to start knowing how to buy records and know how to sell records and start push and support our own stuff.
Do you know what needs to happen? And I've been saying this from 2000 and what? Afrobeats needs a major label to distribute and control how the music's marketed
In Africa?
in Africa and internationally, how it's marketed, produced, and so it stays authentic. Because you see, like when an artist starts getting in the hands of people like your Sonys or Universals, I get concerned because
They water it down.
they'll water
huh?
it down ridiculously. You understand?
Yeah.
So what Africa needs? Sorry, Gabe. Keep
And what you're saying now,
you're making sorry,
and what you're saying now is pretty much the same thing with hip hop and everything else that goes on because who's
So
it
how
now?
can we ensure that though? Because I think that the Afrobeats is still developing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the structure is not fully there. The infrastructure is not it's not there yet. So how?
And the shacks are coming in. I
Yeah.
have
So
a
who's going to
problem.
take control of that and make sure that
through this someone watching this episode now,
Yeah.
we probably planted the seed for them. I hope.
Okay.
That's what you never know.
Start doing
Are you an
We could be
investor?
responsible.
Come and invest in Afrobeats. I don't charge much. We can talk.
It's a corporation, isn't it? Some of these, so people are always aiming to kind of cross over, and they want to now join. They want to be part of this bigger process, and they don't know that this thing is a corporation.
Yeah.
And once you become part of this, you have to play by the rules. And the rules are probably different from the ones you expected.
Yeah.
So they want to make money because it's all about profit making, and they want a quick turnaround, and that might mean you need to forgo what you think was authentic to you. It might not be authentic to the wider audience.
Oyibo Afrobeat star this year. And we'll have this debate all over again.
DJ Bass knows
Well,
something.
we've
There's something cooking.
we've got Nikki Tour from Greece.
Hey, everybody gonna like him. Let me tell him the oil bubble on the bright pan. Pass me your love or pass me your day. The cats from my girl, them they do me crazy. Look at all never lazy. More for the Nigeria for my people don't they hear me. I like that silly hood from the shaggy thing about cause the galala. Hey, come on. Oh my love, why you did do me so?
He's a Nikki Tour. He's a Greek.
Nicky Toll is
Is he not a comedian?
No, he's not. He's
He's
the
an
guy that
actual
he does
artist.
covers.
Covers.
He does covers online. It's quite good, He plays a multi-instrumentalist producer,
Yeah.
and he does versions of.
I didn't think he was
mostly-
serious. He's actually serious.
He just came back from Lagos. No, not too long. The guy is not joking. No.
Okay.
So he's them, he's doing all
The
right.
question is, will we accept him? That's the question.
Well,
Listen, if the music's good, whatever.
The music
But
wins all the
What
time.
I'm saying is, if he's getting pushed to the front of Ola,
want that.
that's not cool.
Okay. Do you know, I think we're going to end it there because I like Maestro's stance. I think it opens up a much bigger debate because who's going to take over the face of Afrobeats?
Yeah.
You guys don't mind. He doesn't want a Richard.
Ted Smith.
He wants,
I don't mind
he wants an Ola there. Or Kwame.
Or even if they're equal pairing, cool.
Yeah.
Like, don't Ola's been putting in the work here. Ted Smith shouldn't just get pushed there. It's not because obviously.
But the thing is, that's how the game goes.
All right, we're gonna go
So
on
that's
and
why
on,
we need
guys.
an African
So
label to-
DJ's here. It's just seriously, you guys have taught me a lot. You've taught us a lot. You've named some artists who are not Nigerian, Ghanaian. So I'm gonna go and try and Google some and get myself a bit educated. And Maestro here we've talked about expanding the borders and going over the borders, but Maestro here, you've got your stance. You want us to expand the borders, but not too far out so that, I don't know, someone from Norway doesn't take over.
Expand the borders and make sure
Build the wall.
we are. Do you know what? I lost the words.
We are building the wall like Trump. And Afrobeats is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We don't want a Nikki Tour taking over. Sorry if you're watching. No, we love
Nikki,
you. We
shout
love
out
you.
to you.
We love you for embracing. No. We love you for embracing the culture. And I think it's amazing that the likes of Nikki Tour can actually perform and get involved. It's fantastic.
definitely.
Because that's the only way we're going to let people know about who we are.
That's right.
So, guys, it's been amazing. Thank you so much. Until the next time, you have been watching the Afrobeats panel. Take care. Bye.
Less.
Less.